a quick position rundown for you. The top 5 are Norris, Drogovic, Verstappen, Russell and you. Okay, so as for the cars around us, just ahead are Ricciardo, Piastri and Leclerc. And we're in front of Albon, Pourchaire and Ocon. Currently the fastest lap is at 1 minute 17.9. Sorry, we can't provide you with that information right now.
You can hear the Australian fans roaring as they line the track here in Albert Park. Welcome to Melbourne, and the roar from the crowd can only mean one thing. It's race day. The Melbourne circuit is certainly one that needs to be taken seriously. It's a combination of slippery surfaces and difficult corners, making it a very tricky track when it comes to overtaking. Drivers find it hard to pass and will need to take full advantage of those DRS zones if they want to have any hope of breaking through. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and starting next to them is George Russell. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Norris, Oscar Piastri, Drogovic, Verstappen, Joe, Ricciardo, Helga, Teo Pourchaire, Albon, Daniel, Stroll, Perez, Ocon, Sargent, Liam Lawson, Magnussen, Doohan and Yuki Tsunoda. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the rundown into turn one, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going. Seeing any technical issues coming off the practice starts. Watch the RPM on the full start. We don't want you to bog down. Okay, now stay alert for threats around you. simpler. You made it look so easy. Safety car in this lap, safety car in this lap. Let's make sure those tyres are up to temperature, and remember, there's no overtaking until the timing line. Stay in position until the green flags. Okay, clear. Gap to your teammate behind is 5.0 seconds. And gap to the car in front is 1.5 seconds. Well, what happened? Let me know you're okay.
That's it for another Grand Prix and a fantastic win for Mercedes. Well, Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today, but what set them apart from the rest?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy and to stay out of trouble.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners. So let's review the updated drivers' standings. George Russell takes the lead in the Drivers' Championship after today's superb result. Well, after an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
There's a few contenders, but George Russell definitely stood out, I think. A really solid drive from him today, and one I'm sure the fans enjoyed.
Let's move on to the constructors. Mercedes moved to the top of the table. Meanwhile, a strong weekend from Red Bull this time out, and they improved their position in the championship. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action, and I can't wait to see what's next.
The department wants me to pass on their thanks for helping out.
We're all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who'll be fronting the grid. Drugovich, Russell and Charles Leclerc. With qualifying complete, all that remains now is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then. Forget pit stops, forget fuel management. It's pedal to the metal all the way here as we get ready for today's sprint. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. Felipe Drugovich lines up on pole position, just ahead of George Russell, who starts this event from P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Oscar Piastri, Norris, Albon, Joe, Verstappen, Ricciardo, Hauger, Théo Pourchaire, Doohan, Perez, Sargent, Stroll, Daniel, Ocon, Liam Lawson, Tsunoda, and Kevin Magnussen fills the last spot on the grid. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out.
Okay, so our system checks are good. We need to stay in formation and start bringing the car up to temperature, please. Get some load into the tyres and work the brakes. We want them nice and warm by the end of this lap. Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
Let's have a look then at the driver's standings. That's a positive result for George Russell, who further solidifies his position at the top of the standings. The grid is set then, so that just leaves the race itself. Join us tomorrow where we'll be live with all the action. And until then, goodbye. Good afternoon and welcome from Baku. This was the arena, if you think back to 2017, of one of the most eventful races of modern history, with controversy behind the safety car, last-second overtakes, and a historic podium for Williams and for Lance Stroll. Let's find out what lies in store for us this year. It's time for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. The Baku city circuit measures roughly 6 kilometers, and it's made up of 20 corners and 2 DRS zones. The circuit winds around the narrow city, through the old town, and even brushes against the city's medieval walls. However, as beautiful as the setting is, this track is also a ferocious technical challenge, where the smallest of mistakes could lead to a catastrophic consequence for any one of our drivers. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Felipe Drugovich lines up on pole position, and starting next to them is George Russell. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Leclerc, Oscar Piastri, Albon, Joe, Ricciardo, Daniel, Théo Pourchaire, Verstappen, Halger, Doohan, Tsunoda, Ocon, Perez, Liam Lawson, Magnussen, Sargent, and Lance Stroll brings the grid to a close. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race. Anthony Davidson, a very warm welcome to you as you join me in the commentary box for today's event. Why don't we discuss McLaren? We've had a significant regulation change for this season, but from what we can gather at this early stage, it seems they've had some trouble adapting their car.
It doesn't look promising for them so far. And if the new regs have hit them as hard as we think, well, I suspect they may need a few late nights at the factory to get back on track.
Clutch bite is good, gearbox is responding normally. Make sure to warm up the tyres and brakes. Warm the tyres and brakes throughout the lap, please. Okay, I've got a brand new race strap. That looked bad. Are you all right? Let me know you're okay.
And Mercedes have pulled off a great victory here today. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
Well, Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again. So let's see what effect this result has had on the driver's standings. That's a positive result for George Russell, who further solidifies his position at the top of the standings. Some amazing talent out on the track today, but Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
But there's no question in my mind, it has to go to George Russell. What a performance. He's got every right to be proud of what he accomplished out there today.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Meanwhile, good work from Aston Martin this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport action. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
Thanks for handling that.